All right, what's up people? Good morning, it's Trub. I'm gonna go ride my wings today at the jump park, but before I get going, I wanted to talk about the Apex a little bit. I've been, kind of hard on it because it's the first pre-production wheel I've ever had access to. So if there's anything that we can change to make it better, that's what I wanted to bring up. And, I was tasked with just taking it out and riding it hard by Marty, and I did that. I did what I think anyone would do if they bought the wheel and went out and rode it for about a week without doing any, major tear downs to do incredible maintenance. The wheel, when I got it, had maybe 20 miles, and when I gave it back to Marty, had maybe 70. So let's say I put maybe 50 miles of hard trail riding on it in that week and a half. I would say there's only 3 things that I would like to see changed. So I have the shock here with me, or no, not the shock, but a shock here with me today. And you can see this bump stop here. This is on every mountain bike and stuff like that. This is where all of the force goes into when you bottom out. If you bottom out the apex, you are left with maybe like 15 or so millimeters, maybe even more, that's just not used. And I don't know anything about how the D&M shocks are constructed, but in air shocks there's also a bump stop, most of them, and that is to protect the shock. And that's just, I don't know, it's already something that exists. No mountain bike has like a physical bump stop like anywhere located on it. And when you bottom out a mountain bike, the shock bottoms out. It bottoms out onto this ring, and that's totally okay. That's what this is here for. So yeah, I don't really understand why they're going the way they're going with that thing. I'm sure that he will explain why, but in my experience with all these bikes that I have and all the suspension that I've been riding my whole life, I've never seen anything like that. So, the bump stops are a part of the shock. When you have leaf springs, there's bump stops there. Like, I don't know why the air shock in the Apex does not even get a chance to get anywhere near its bump stop, if it has one, which I'm not sure how that's constructed at all. I might tear down the one that never survived. You can see it right here. This is how far it can travel, but it doesn't get anywhere close. And so I think that needs to be fixed. But I don't think that that's the #1 issue. If you don't do anything to that, if there's no change to the whole block slider screw situation, it's not the end of the world at all. It's just not a 150 millimeter travel wheel. And he's gonna say that it is because of like mountain bike standards or something, but it just, in my experience, I've never heard of or seen anything like that. The shock always just bottoms out. And so something needs to be tuned there. They're not using the full stroke of the air shock, and that last bit of the air shock is the most progressive. It's gonna stop you from bottoming out the most, but you never get there. Most people may not notice it, but there are a lot of us that are riding crazy trails, mountain bike trails. Marty gives me a lot of credit, but there is a lot of people just like me, just as good as me, that are riding like me every weekend, and they're all looking at this wheel. The firmware is gonna be like huge. Like, people are kind of not happy with the Lynx firmware, doing the weird stuff. I think firmware can usually be fixed. Begode has gone so far with their firmware. Their wheels used to basically be something I would never take to the jump park. Now they're totally fine. Things can change with firmware very easily. We just saw Marty fix a resonance problem with firmware. And I think that's the problem they're trying to fix the most. And I think that's good. I think that is probably where the most attention needs to be spent right now. The next problem is also not a deal breaker, but it's kind of important because, like I said, I had the wheel for like a week and a half, and if you buy the wheel and ride it for a week, I don't think that you should be expected to tear down the wheel to get access to the place where they want you to put the grease. On a mountain bike fork, you can see my fork. My mountain bike hasn't been touched in probably 5 years, so yeah, everything's terrible. And the last time I went and rode it, all the oil's like coming out of the forks and stuff. It's bad. But that's, like I said, it's been so long, and this bike's never been serviced. This bike was bought in 2010. It's never been serviced. I could still go ride it right now, but I should go service it. And so yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna have to tear apart my forks to reload the oil and service all that every week. That's more like a once a year type thing. With the Apex, I'd say, I would, if it could go a month before I have to tear it down, pull the sliders out of the bodies, and then reapply whatever to the inside of the bodies, a month, that's fine. And then I would just, before and after every ride, just like a mountain bike, I would use the WPL fork boost here, or this Buzzy Slick Honey here. And with the Buzzy Slick Honey, you would just take a brush and kind of brush it around the fork seals and then start pumping it to get it moving. And that's also going to push out any dirt that has gotten into your seals. And then so you can clean that off. And that is regular maintenance. That is something you should do, honestly, before and after every ride, just to make sure your stinctions stay good and your dust seals stay good. And that should be expected. On a mountain bike, you also have to lube the chain. So there's more stuff you have to do on a bike before and after each ride. 100% acceptable. But as soon as you have to take the tools out and start taking batteries off and getting into that body, that's a little too much to ask for like someone to do too much. And once they nail that down, which I'm sure they can, it's just going to be a matter of finding the right compound and then being able to give us like a link to where we can buy it in all of the different countries, because not every compound is going to be available everywhere. But if it's going to be expected of us to do, they should have a nice information sheet or something like that for us. The user manual should be very detailed on this thing. Like on a motorcycle, you're gonna have like a sheet that tells you after how many hours or how many miles to check what bolts, what torque the bolts should be at, how long you should go before changing your oil. It should be just a checklist. How long have you ridden it? How many miles or how long? What should you be looking for? And then beyond that, like a troubleshoot checklist. If I have stiction, if the ride feels really rough and it feels like my suspension is locking up, answer, you need to re-grease your inner stinctions. Just simple stuff like that is, I think, something that's going to be easy to do. I think that, all the people getting upset on the YouTube comments and stuff is kind of giving them a little bit of unease maybe. And so if y'all could just chill out on YouTube, give them some time to breathe. Maybe they're a little bit rushed right now, trying to get all this stuff figured out, with the firmware not even really being like up to what they want it to be. But yeah, give them some time. For some reason, I think the firmware is really hard to solve because Leaperkim still hasn't solved it yet. So let them spend all their time on that. If they don't want to change the blocks, it's not a deal breaker. It's just not a 150 millimeter wheel. And as soon as they tell us how to take care of the stinctions, it shouldn't be a problem. The stiction should go away. I've seen in their, they have a video out where they replaced the linkage from the prototype to the production linkage, And in that video, you can see on the sliders that there's like some thick grease, like something that was never on my wheel that I got to test. So they're doing different things. I can post a picture of, you know, mine when it's bone dry. When I had to do the tire change, you have to remove that slider. There was nothing in there, no evidence of anything ever being in there. So whatever they used on my wheel was very light, and it all just escaped the stiction body like immediately. When it comes to really like taking the wheel completely apart, I don't think most people are gonna wanna do that after the first week. So I had no idea they were gonna change the thing that they did to the stiction. So I'm just like reporting how it was for me. The next video that I'm gonna release, it's fine in the beginning. This is when I go back to the improved air shock, and it's fine in the beginning because I had just, you know, done the outside seal service for the stinctions, and then the stiction comes back immediately because there's just nothing in the body of the stinctions. And then, you know, I've been informed that that's not how it's gonna be. So we'll figure all that out. It's not a deal breaker. The firmware really isn't even a deal breaker unless you've already experienced it on a Lynx and you really know that you hate it. I can usually get by it. It's only happens in like steep, like 180 or like tight, steep turns. It really throws you off. Other than that, you know, it was fine at the jump park. I don't really like seeing all the people that are freaking out on the internet just because, you know, a prototype is having problems. I just want to leave off with like a story about the Master. Everybody knows the Bigot Master. It is probably the most iconic electric unicycle around because it was basically one of the first powerful suspension unicycles. And I had a V1. I bought mine July 4th of like the year that it came out, whatever that was. That was like 2 years ago, right? Yeah, just drinking beer on July 4th. And I was like, I have an RS. I just kind of learned how to ride, and I was like, I'm gonna get the Master. And then I got it, and it freaking sucked. Mine overheated. I was on a ride with 2 other Masters, maybe 3, and mine was the only one that was overheating. I don't know why. But yeah, mine overheated until I got a new control board for it. And let's see, the firmware was terrible in the beginning. It was unusable at the jump park 100%, and it was really freaking weird in turns. So I bought the Master July 4th, but before I had received it, because you don't get it until like freaking September or something, somebody actually sold me their King Song S22. And so I was able to ride that for months before I even got the wheel that I had bought first. And so the King Song pedals were freaking awesome in the turns and everything. As soon as I got on the Bigot, I just couldn't ride it. I basically just put it away until race season because I knew at the races, you know, we were doing an uphill race and the S22 is not going to do well there. So that's when I started actually riding the Master, was to be able to compete in the races. And that's the only thing I ever used it for. As soon as those races were done that year, I never rode it again, and then I sold it. But if you know the story of the Master, it's one of the most popular UCs. Everybody's probably ridden one. If not, you've seen one, or like somebody around you has one. Like, the Master is so incredibly iconic. And now you can buy the V4 Master and everything's freaking perfect, and there you go. What you're getting here, the Nosfet Apex is not a V1 Master. Nowhere near it. You're getting, like, I can't even quantify it. It's gotta be at least, at the very least, easily like 10 times greater than the Master was on launch. And the Master I paid $3,200 for. I probably put like 200 miles on it, and I just never enjoyed it. The Apex, when I had it, it was so good the first 2 days that I was like breaking my back trying to get that thing to feel like that again. It was so good. The pedals still, you know, it needs some work. You can get lucky sometimes and get a good calibration, that sticks. And if you do, I would suggest that you just deal with any little pedal inefficiencies, because if you start trying to chase a perfect calibration, it just takes you all day and you never really get anywhere closer. But yeah, if you could take anything away from this, I think there's 3 things that they need to change. I think 2 of them, super easy. Even if they don't change it, the community afterward will. The 3rd thing, firmware, I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if the IMU is really crap and we need a new control board. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Apex. Other than that, it's freaking amazing. At least 10 times better than the Master for only $300 more at launch. Why is that not like so simple to understand? But yeah, it has problems and I'm gonna be hard on it. It's the only pre-production wheel I've ever had access to, and if we can make it better before it hits launch, that's what I want. So yeah, I'm gonna go ride the Lynx now at the jump park. Wish it was the Apex, but I gotta wait like 2 more weeks maybe. I don't know when they're actually gonna get here, but I'm excited to get mine.